I've had more 3-putts lately than I'd care to count, so if you're anything like me and you're having trouble on the greens, stay tuned for this lesson with my coach and PGA Professional Caroline Bradley. Roll the intro. Team, welcome back to the GolfHackr channel and another episode of Scratch22, where I'm documenting my journey in an attempt to become a scratch golfer by the end of 2022. In this week's video, we're on the putting green with Caroline, where she's taking me through the fundamentals of good, strong putting. I've started to see some real progress in my scores now, with 3 rounds coming in under 90 in the last couple of weeks. But each of these rounds have had more than 40 putts on the scorecard. So that's why Caroline took me to the putting green to work on this area of my game and hopefully lower my scores some more. So let's head to the putting green now, and I'll see you after for a quick recap. Hope you can take something away from it. See you soon.
So we've got the line, the read, the speed, okay? So that's going to take time to understand your read and bits and pieces, because you've got to kind of get a lot more experience. But when I see you over the ball, I see a bit of, so you set up over the ball, and then I see this kind of, there's not a commitment to letting that putter head accelerate through the ball. Sure. So you'll get here and it's like all a bit too, there's no acceleration through the ball at the lowest point of arc. So it always starts off weak and just finishes quite weak. So then the other alternative, and then this is what people do, I'm not going to line it up, is then people think, right, I'm a bit weak, so then they start to hit it hard. Sure. It's not about hitting it hard or weak, it's about getting the acceleration of allowing the putter head, when it reaches its lowest point of arc, to be accelerating. Yeah, so if I do this and let that go, that will always accelerate to its lowest point of arc, despite the fact that the putter is slowing down. So when we set up over the ball, subject to our aim and alignment, we want to get this nice feeling of accelerating. So that was a shortish putt, but I accelerated through the ball. Sure. So I think there's areas, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but where you think, if I take it back to here and I take it back to here, it's going to go further. But I could have a diddy little putt, but accelerate, and I've got that. Yeah. And that was a diddy little...
Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so we've really got to teach you, you've got to learn that the shoulders and the sternum go back and forwards like so. The weight of the putter is allowed to accelerate, and you're not controlling it from the speed of your shoulders, you're letting your shoulders rock and you're letting that accelerate.
Sure, so the length of the putt is decided by how far back you're pulling the putter.
Well, if you see, that's what you're getting at the moment. But you see, if I do that, the diddy back, I still got it up to the hole because I allowed it to accelerate through. Right. So I can still take it back further and still get the same kind of response, like so. God, it's freezing. You must be frozen. So I can still take it back further. I've just got to allow to accelerate.
Sure.
And that's what you're not getting. You're not getting that through the ball. Through the ball. Yeah. And that's why you're not holding lines. Whether you see them or not at the moment, we don't know. But I'm not worried about that, because that will come with experience. Because the more, if you're a bit clueless to where the putter is, just go straight at it, then come up and watch it, then you'll start to really read the greens and learn the lines. So we're going to really work on just getting this acceleration through. That one was weak, but we're going to work on getting this acceleration through. Okay? Good. These are better, much better. So keep trying, and this is what your practice, your discipline has to be, really in this finer detail. You know, don't just think, oh, I'm rolling putts in. You've really got to feel. You've got to feel the stroke. You've got to feel what you're trying to accomplish with the stroke. It's not just about rolling the ball in. It's about you understanding what you're doing with this. Yes, and understanding how much you need to roll the ball away. Now, just going back to posture. On that putt, you've still got to get a little bit more from here, as opposed to here. You're here, so you're going from here as opposed from here. And then when you're over the ball, left eye in line with the ball, butt of club in line with the ball. On that one, you were back there, so there was a little bit of hand movement there. So you're more here. So let's see more, because you've got to stay nice and athletic up top. You don't want to get too slouched, because then you've got nowhere to go. Then that's when the hands and arms kick in a bit. It's a nicer posture. So make sure that left eye is in line with the ball. Okay, slightly weak through that, but you know, you're not in too much trouble with that. If you get that out on the golf course, better. Feel the difference? So you've got to keep these wrists firm. Mike, you've got to really rely on setup, left eye, butt of club, shoulders. No movement with the hips or knees, just a really nice shoulder, and add that sternum in. There's the sternum, so it's like so. Good. You've got to spend hours doing 3-footers like this, and you've got to start to register in your brain the feeling of the stroke, because I feel when you go out and play, there's no real identity to what type of stroke you need. You haven't identified in your mind what's right and what's wrong, and that's why it's all a bit wishy-washy, but that's understandable. You know, you're trying in a lot of angles, and that's the thing with golf. We've got long game, short game, putting. Okay, all of our long shots, as I say, are all the same movement. Putts start to change a little because people start to get more, or amateurs start to get more nervous over putts. We're happy to whack it down the fairway, and but the minute the putts start to count, that's when their score starts to count. But you've got to think, right, I'm over the ball, I've got a good setup, I've seen my line, and that's what you've got to trust. You've got to putt through that.
So if you're anything like me and you have or had very little technical knowledge of what good sound putting looks like, hopefully there's something in there you can take straight to the greens and help to lower your scores. Caroline immediately identified the big problem for me, and as she pointed out, it's a big problem for a lot of amateur golfers out there. Failing to commit to the putt results in those weak putts that don't hold their line that you've originally visualized traveling to the cup. To ensure you avoid this, you need to get the feel of accelerating through the ball at the lowest point of arc. So whenever you're practicing, it's not about simply rolling the ball into the cup over and over. It's about getting the feel of a smooth stroke and accelerating through the ball, actually getting a real feel for it as opposed to just going through the motions. Stance and grip in putting is a little bit about personal preference, but Caroline recommends an athletic posture and keeping your left eye over the top of the ball to help build consistency into your strokes of the ball. And finally, keep your legs, head and wrists still as you make the putt. Rock your shoulders to make the stroke. And do your best not to lift your head early like I have done on so many occasions. Is there anything else you would add to the fundamentals of a good putting stroke? Let me know in the comments down below. So as winter comes in here in the UK, it's starting to get colder and wetter, and we're probably only another couple of weeks away from getting some unplayable weather. So I'm going to look to get as much golf in as I can while I still can, but I'm thrilled to say these last few rounds that have come in under 90 have dropped my handicap to 16.6, bringing me in under that 17 target just ahead of schedule. For now, it's time to really put some hard yards in on my putting, and hopefully we'll get a few more low scores in before the end of the year. In the meantime, guys, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Take it easy.